Ever stop to think about, well, anything you own? Your phone, your coffee, your car? Chances are it's spent a long time on a ship. And that's what we're talking about today. This huge, kind of invisible world of maritime shipping, and its absolutely massive race to go green.
So what's actually powering that journey? Well, right now, it's basically one of the dirtiest fuels you can imagine. We're talking about the industry that's the backbone of, everything we buy. But it's got a really big, dirty secret. Yeah, for ages, these massive ships have been chugging along, burning what's called heavy fuel oil. And that stuff pumps just a ton of greenhouse gases into the air. But here's the thing, that whole era, it's finally coming to an end. People are demanding a change, and it's happening fast.
All right, so let's get into it. The heat is on. We're not talking about suggestions anymore. International regulators are laying down the law, and the deadlines, they're getting tighter and tighter.
I mean, just look at how fast things are moving. The IMO, that's the International Maritime Organization, has seriously stepped up its game. What started as just a strategy back in 2018 is now a full-on net zero framework. By 2030, ships have to slash their emissions intensity, and it gets even tougher after that. You can bet the whole industry is scrambling to figure this out. So, what's the big solution everyone's talking about? You're not going to believe it. It's ammonia. Yeah, seriously, the same stuff you find in fertilizers. It sounds totally out there, right? But when you look at the reasons why, it actually starts to make a lot of sense. Okay, so here's why it's such a contender. First up, and this is the big one, no carbon atoms. So when it burns, no CO2. Zip, nada. Second, it's a brilliant way to carry hydrogen. Hydrogen is a great fuel, but it's a real pain to store. Ammonia solves that. And third, we're already in the ammonia business. We make and ship millions of tons of it every year. We've already got terminals in over 100 ports. A big chunk of the infrastructure is already there. But, and this is super important, not all ammonia is the same. The stuff we make today, so-called brown ammonia, actually comes from fossil fuels, so that's no help. The future is all about green ammonia, made with renewables, or blue ammonia, where you capture the carbon. Only those two versions are actually going to help us clean things up. Now, there is, of course, a massive catch, a really big one. Ammonia is super toxic to people, so you can't just be careless with it. The industry knows this is its #1 safety hurdle. The plan? Well, it's a total redesign. We're talking brand new ship designs, double-walled pipes, super sensitive leak detectors, and totally new procedures to keep everyone safe. Okay, so that's the big picture. But how far along are we really? To get a handle on that, let's do a little then and now. We'll look at the biggest roadblocks and see where we were in 2020 compared to today. And trust me, the progress is pretty wild.
First up, the actual technology. Just 5 years ago, if you wanted an ammonia-powered engine for a ship, well, you'd be looking at a PowerPoint slide. It was just a concept, an idea. Today, that idea is actually being built.
This quote really says it all, right? Back in 2020, an ammonia engine was just a concept. There were 0 ammonia-capable ships on order. You literally couldn't buy one. And now, look at that, from 0 to 39. And these aren't just ideas. These are real ships with real contracts being built in real shipyards. We're talking huge carriers and container ships. That is a massive jump in only 5 years. Building these new ships is one thing, but you need rules, right? You need safety regulations. And in 2020, the rulebook for using ammonia as a fuel was, well, it was empty, a total blank slate. And that creates a ton of uncertainty for anyone trying to build something new. Flash forward to today, and that has totally changed. We now have interim guidelines from the IMO and the big safety organizations. What does that mean? It means there's now a clear path to getting these designs approved. This is the green light everyone was waiting for. It's a huge deal. Okay, but it's not all good news. There's one problem that has been incredibly tough to solve, and that's the cost. Back in 2020, green ammonia was ridiculously expensive. And then 2025? Yep, still ridiculously expensive. This is still the #1 challenge by far. And when I say expensive, I mean, wow, look at this gap. To get the same energy, green ammonia costs almost 5 times more than the old school fuel oil. Technology alone can't fix a price gap that big. It's a gigantic economic mountain to climb. What's interesting is that as the industry started to figure out the tech, a whole new kind of challenge popped up.
one that maybe people weren't thinking about as much back in 2020. I'm talking about the human element, the people problems.
And it boils down to this really important question. You can build the most advanced, safest ship imaginable, but who's going to sail it? Who knows how to handle this stuff safely? A ship is only as good as its crew.
So this isn't just about swapping out an engine. It's a total overhaul of the human side of things. We're talking brand new training for seafarers on how to handle a toxic fuel, new safety manuals for every possible thing that could go wrong, and a real shift in the whole safety culture for the crew on the ship and the folks back on shore. So, okay, with all these hurdles, how does this transition actually work? Well, the industry isn't just flipping a switch overnight. That would be impossible. Instead, the strategy is a lot smarter. It's a two-phase plan.
Step 1, you start small. You build a pioneering fleet. Maybe a few dozen ships, a few hundred crew members, running on specific routes between a handful of ports. This is your live test. You figure out what works, what doesn't, how to train people. Then, for step 2, you take everything you learned and you build the big framework for scaling it up. For thousands of vessels, a global fueling network, and training for tens of thousands of people. But here's the catch. Even getting that small pioneer fleet off the ground is tough. It's stuck in that classic chicken and egg problem. This quote nails it. The fuel is so expensive that ship owners don't want to buy it, and if no one's buying it, who's going to invest billions to build the new green ammonia plants? See the problem? And that really brings us to the most important point of all. The tech is getting there, the safety rules are being written. But to make this whole thing work, to go from a few pioneer ships to a whole green global fleet, the solution isn't just about technology, it's about policy. We need strong global rules that make clean fuel competitive. So, the ships are ready to be built. The pioneers are ready to go. The technology is on the cusp of being a reality. The real question, the final question, is much bigger. Is the world ready to put the policies in place to actually pay the price for a green shipping future?